This is the program that shows you the side of police chase videos they didn't want you to see. Bungled arrests, kamikaze crooks, and cop-based carnage of all kinds. Welcome to Cops Uncut, the real car crash TV.
On my way. Car's on fire.
Coming up in Cops Uncut. The curse of Spooky Hollow claims another victim. This drunk driver gets a bit hot-headed. And this cop splits his pants. Most police video veterans will be familiar with the PIT manoeuvre. PIT stands for Precision Intervention Technique, which sounds impressive, but basically just involves ramming your cruiser into the other car to make it crash. Unfortunately, it's the ramming part that this cop is currently having problems with as he tries to stop this shoplifter. First, when the cruiser tries to ram him at a junction, the crook gives him the slip by simply turning right. And when the cruiser eventually catches up, the criminal adopts a clever zigzagging technique to avoid further impact. The robber tries the same right turn trick as before, but this time the officer is wise to the tactic. So next time the runaway cunningly tries turning left instead. The trooper slowly seems to be getting the measure of his quarry, however, and sticks firmly to his tail, even when the crook demonstrates police evasion techniques that have obviously been finely honed on Grand Theft Auto. But maybe the cop's been practicing on his PlayStation as well. He pulls a dangerous stunt by attempting to make contact with the suspect's car at a crossroads, regardless of the fact there are other cars close by. Still, the fugitive slips away. By now, though, the policeman is definitely on a roll, and he takes one final lunge for the big money shot. And gets it right. Proving that if at first you don't succeed, then pit, pit, and pit again.
At the corner. On my way.
Tonight, someone's about to fall foul of the infamous curse of Spooky Hollow. Chief Dave Agler of the Sugar Creek Police has pulled over the guy in this truck on suspicion of drink driving, just like it says in the policeman's instruction manual. But no textbook can prepare him for the horrors that this evening is about to bring. The suspect gets out of his truck looking like a reject from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but Dave bravely initiates standard drunk person procedure all the same. Then the scary-looking suspect has a go himself and doesn't do too badly. Unfortunately, we can't quite hear what Dave proposes for the next test, but whatever it is, the redneck really doesn't like it. Now the gloves are off, and despite a gun being pointed at him, the suspect lurches at the policeman like something from a zombie movie and gives poor Dave some verbal. Once he's had his say, the man ambles back to his truck, ignoring the officer's ferocious pointing finger, and casually drives away. After a brief chase, the suspect suddenly stops his truck again. And it's round 2 for Officer Dave versus the drunk.
Target down on the ground! Do it now! Do it now! Target on the ground! Get the fuck out of here!
Yet again, the man just walks back to his truck. The increasingly scared Chief Agler can do nothing to stop him. This time the chase leads the chief down a series of creepy back roads and onto the most aptly named street in Ohio.
Be advised of turning on to Spooky Hollow Road.
A little further on, Dave is joined by another cruiser and things are finally beginning to look up. But the psycho suspect and the scary roads finally get the better of Dave.
Taking off again.
Still to come, this drunk driver is off his head.
The devil. David is my father.
And this drunk driver is a petrol head. Police Academy Lesson 123, DUI.
Pulling out.
DUI stands for driving under the influence and is basically just a posh way of saying drunk driving. You can often spot a DUI case simply by the type of car he's driving.
Touch the center line there. That's the center.
He's revving his truck up like he's having some problems getting it out into second gear.
If you see a tired old truck like this, then you can virtually guarantee the hillbilly behind the wheel has enough booze in his system to knock out a bison. So if you haven't got any more important crimes to be solving, why not pull over your potential piss artist to see if your suspicions were correct? Rather than use a breathalyzer to quickly and efficiently establish the suspect's alcohol level, American cops have worked out that it's much more fun to subject drunk people to a rigorous series of sobriety tests. Break them in with a few easy questions first.
How you doing, pal? Do you have your driver's license and insurance with you today? Okay, I need you to take it out of your, how much have you had to drink tonight?
Don't be surprised if the suspect tries to mislead you at this point.
I've had a beer, sir.
A beer or so, just one beer?
Once you get your suspect out of his vehicle,
Hey, why don't you step out for me?
you can move on to a more taxing line of questioning.
Mr. Sheffield, do you know your alphabet?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and so forth.
Can you count backwards for me?
Not really.
Not really?
During your test, keep an ear out for this key phrase.
It's okay. I'm not drunk.
Okay.
Loosely translated, this means, I'm totally off my face. Arrest me now. At this point, you may as well call it a day and take your wobbling wino downtown to sleep it off. So next time you're on DUI duty, here are some things to bear in mind. Driving a truck equals being at the booze.
Touch the center line there.
Who needs a breathalyzer when you have scientific tests like these?
How much have you had to drink tonight?
I've had a beer, sir.
And always remember to make sure your suspect responds to your questioning through the medium of song.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and so forth.
260 at the corner. On my way.
Not all police chases involve hair-raising high-speed pursuits. In Iowa, for example, we joined cops on a chase which has been reaching a speed of almost 20 miles an hour. There's not a lot the frustrated troopers can do. Down these dusty back roads that the suspect is leading them through, all they can do is sit behind him as he painstakingly proceeds for several miles. They just carry on pursuing him through the night very slowly. The snail's pace chase seems to go on forever. And just when the cops thought the pursuit couldn't get any slower, the drink driver grinds to a virtual standstill. It's quite hard to tell, but the truck is still moving forwards, just. In his booze-addled mind, this guy probably thinks he's tearing it up like Nigel Mansell. Eventually, the suspect is driving so slowly that he may as well come to a full stop, so he makes a friendly waving gesture and pulls over to the side of the road. But what this guy obviously doesn't realize is that extremely slow escape attempts are precisely the sort of thing that really wind up the cops on your tail. So when the police finally get him out of his truck and into custody, they waste absolutely no time in treating him to a little of the rough stuff. We're not 100% sure what the arresting off-camera officers are doing to the suspect here, but from the look on his face, it's hurting. All the same, the man is surprisingly honest when the cops ask him the million-dollar question.
You drinking that, BJ?
Yes, I have, sir.
How much you have to drink?
I know.
This driver isn't going to get himself a speeding ticket in a hurry, but he's obviously been at the source. Enough to land him in jail for drunk driving, resisting arrest, and generally wasting everybody's time. Now this looks like just another drunk truck driver getting tugged by the police. But nothing on Cops Uncut is ever as it seems. The guy is reaching for something from the back of his truck, and before the police know what's going on, he's doused himself in petrol. 4 big cops pounce on him, but somehow the man still manages to strike a light, with horrific consequences. Mercifully, he manages to survive his ordeal by fire, no thanks to those 4 cops who couldn't even stop him from sparking up. And they scarpered as soon as the situation started to get heated. When you're a cop, danger can come from any angle at any time. You might be enjoying a brief roadside stroll with a colleague when someone unexpectedly attempts to mow you down with their car. Seen in slow motion, the moment of impact may only look like a light graze, but it's enough to make the officer say a bad word and run back to his cruiser to chase down his assailant and get his own back. Sirens blaring, the cop quickly zeroes in on his adversary with only one thing on his mind: justice. The trooper soon tracks down the guilty motor and forces it to pull onto the hard shoulder. He cautiously approaches the villain's car, bracing himself for the inevitable face-off with another ruthless, hardened cop killer. The officer bravely confronts the dangerous thug and starts to give him a thorough ticking off, despite the very nasty-looking tear in his trousers. It's not long before the evildoer's sinister accomplice makes her presence felt too. Eventually, the geriatric delinquents are charged with traffic violations on 2 counts: failure to maintain proper control and leaving the scene of an accident. Rather than make a senior citizen's arrest, however, the cop sends the prisoners packing with a whopping great fine. As for the wounded officer, he's given 6 whole months to recuperate. Presumably, it's going to take that long for his trousers to recover. Mind you, given the general leniency and tolerance of American police officers, these 2 cottonheads are lucky they're not on death row, heading for the electric chair. As we saw in part 1, erratic driving is usually a sign that someone's full of booze, particularly if there's some kind of truck involved. This guy's certainly driving under the influence of something, but it becomes patently clear that there's a lot more than just a couple of light beers coursing through his system. As if possessed, the man struggles against the policeman's hold and spews forth a steady stream of gibbering nonsense, most of which is completely incomprehensible. Somehow the officer manages to get the cuffs on and maintain an arm lock, but the gibberish shows no sign of easing. A firm bang of the head on the bonnet briefly shuts the raving nutter up, and the trooper is able to question his passenger.
What is he on?
It turns out that this guy's totally off his face on PCP, a hardcore drug that can cause wild hallucinations. Which is why he's not making an awful lot of sense. While he holds on tight and waits for backup, the trooper's subjected to yet more babbling from his doped-up suspect.
I like my brother's ways. I'm young. Keep your hands where they can be seen. I'm young.
After what feels like an eternity, help finally arrives, and just before the cops take him away, the dribbling druggie offers a final selection of enlightening comments.
You are the man. My mom is the devil. David is my father. That's what I got.
He's not going without a fight, though, and it takes 4 large cops to get him into the back of the cruiser.
260 at the corner.
On my way.
Still to come, this cop teaser goes for a roll in the snow. Police Academy, Lesson 101, Frisking. Frisking's a process that helps to establish what suspects may or may not have tucked away in their trousers.
Driver. Sir, stay back here for me just a second.
As your suspect exits his vehicle, make sure you keep one hand near your gun, just in case you need to blow him or anyone else away. There's no harm in asking a few simple questions.
You ain't had nothing to drink, have you? No, I just bought me a seat. Huh?
Just don't bank on getting any coherent answers.
He's not that ready to license come on it. Okay. You don't mind taking a couple field sobriety tests for me? If everything checks out, you'll be on your way. Blowing the tube. Huh? I'm blowing that tube with this thing. You're blowing the tube? Yeah. I don't have a tube. What I do is a field sobriety test. All right.
As you chat, keep your eyes peeled for suspicious bulges. Here's where your frisking skills come in handy.
You ain't got no weapons in your pocket or nothing like that.
And if you do come across anything that shouldn't be there, see what happens if you give it a gentle squeeze. Unfortunately, this particular frisking procedure seems to have failed, so the only alternative is to try and take your subject's clothes off. Should this be the case, get a backup officer to assist you with the dressing down. If you really want whatever this subject has in his pants that badly, try not to let him escape with half his wardrobe, because it's not very likely you or your lardy mate will ever catch him again. So let's remind ourselves of how the frisking process works. First, pull over your suspect and take a long, hard look at his trousers. If you spot any unusual bulges, it's time for some frisky business. But if the gentle touch fails, then don't be scared to expose the full, naked truth. Class dismissed.
260 at the corner.
On my way.
We've heard some pretty flimsy excuses in our time, but the driver swerving this people carrier over the South Carolina tarmac is about to take the proverbial biscuit. The police assume they've got yet another DUI case on their hands and try to pull the vehicle over, but apparently the driver's not stopping for anyone. At least not until the cops blow out the vehicle's front tyres. The troopers are ready for a confrontation with a difficult drunk driver or maybe even a hardened crim on the run. Instead, what they get is this.
Turn around.
I turned around. I turned around. See, I didn't do that. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Come over here, ma'am. Come on over here toward my car.
Hey, let's hurry up and get out the road.
Can I get my shoe?
Stand right here right now, okay?
Okay. I just need my shoe.
Apparently, none of the whimpering woman's earlier motorway madness was actually her fault.
What's the matter?
I don't know. I just started driving to a car and it just took off. I didn't do anything to it.
A crowd of cops gather to hear her tale of woe.
What happened?
I don't know. It just went out of control.
It was slow down and speed up, but it wouldn't stop.
It wouldn't stop. I tried to get it to stop, and I was scared somebody was going to shoot me. I'm not drunk or anything. I don't know.
If the woman's to be believed, her cruise control suddenly developed a Herbie-style mind of its own and went loco.
It just went out of control.
Do you have a license?
Yes,
But when the sobbing suspect reveals her holier-than-thou intentions,
Where you heading to?
I want to go to church.
Church.
the cops let her off the hook and allow her to continue her spiritual journey.
Where's that at?
In snowy Ohio, the 2 young crooks in the vehicle ahead are being pulled over for committing the rather low-rent crime of stealing from people's letterboxes. As it happens, the kid behind the wheel should really know better. His father's a high-ranking local deputy sheriff, but then maybe he already gets enough police procedure at home. He certainly doesn't seem to fancy sticking around to chat with this cop. Having a policeman for a dad means the fugitive is already well versed in the art of winding cops up. He knows full well that the troopers are going to have a hard time catching him up, and that they'll probably make themselves quite cross in the process. It's almost as if the delinquent driver is trying to get his own back for years of daddy sending him to bed early, since he seems intent on annoying the cops as much as he can. He sails through this half-hearted attempt to ram him off the road. So the trooper on his tail resorts to shouting at him. But predictably, this has little effect. Instead, this runaway nimbly weaves his way through a juggernaut sandwich, while the pursuing officer just gets stuck in traffic again. But however well acquainted he may be with the tricks of his father's trade, this kid's joyride can't go on forever. He tries to evade another police spike strip thrown into his path, but skids on the icy roads and sends his vehicle careering into a snowy embankment. These kids won't be going straight to jail, not because of any family favoritism, but because they'll both need to spend a lot of time in hospital. Daddy's not going to be best pleased when he finds out that Junior's been cop baiting again. But after going for a spin and ending on a roll, perhaps this crazy son of a cop will consider turning over a new leaf. So, pens at the ready for today's revision class. We learnt how to take out a tearaway, how to strip search a frisky crook, what to do when a driver's drunk as a skunk, and just how much booze one has to consume to get canned. Be careful out there.